Hello, welcome to Tales from the Coping.
This is a podcast about skating, shenanigans, and life. I'm Kate.
And I'm Lynette.
And this is episode 6, Why Can't We Be Friends? Where we're going to talk about making friends at the skate park, not only with new skaters or old skaters if you are, moving somewhere new, but also other skating disciplines like skateboarders, BMXers, rollerbladers, making friends.
But first, let's talk about all the other things happening.
Since our last episode aired, you had a birthday.
I did.
You are the ripe age of 28.
28 again.
Yes, for the how many times?
We don't have to count.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm 37 now.
Yes.
My two favorite numbers.
Still a baby.
Not that far behind you.
No, you're not. It was a fun time, though.
It was. We had a bunch of people out to the ramp. Even my mom came out. She was visiting from Tennessee.
And your aunt, too, yeah. Yep. It was, unfortunately, a very hot day. We had like really nice kind of California-ish weather. And then the day of her party, it was like mid-80s, but it felt like it was in the 90s.
I think it did get up into the 90s.
I don't know.
It's one of the hottest days we've had so far this year. So
Well,
we've been in the 90s once in March.
Yeah.
And now I think that day got into the 90s.
Probably. But yeah, it was, I actually got there on time. Like, it was a Christmas miracle. I'm always, 20 minutes behind, but I got there on time, started setting up. I was there for a good hour before everyone else could get there. And so by the time everyone got there, I was already drenched in sweat. Felt like I had done some cardio. So it was very tiring.
But I'm glad you got there.
Yeah.
And it was actually very surprising that you actually made it there on time.
It's been known to happen, just not often.
And of course, you were the only one there. I was busy waiting on people.
It's okay. I got to play my tunes. I got to make sure that the ramp was all clean. All the trash cans were ready.
Yeah, Kate had everything set up.
Yep.
By the time I got there, pretty much.
Yeah, I was able to even put the easy up mostly by myself. I got it as far as I could, but it's not easy at the very last part. Then you need 2 people to put it up.
So. It's easier with 3 or 4.
Yeah, but it was a good time. We skated. A couple skateboarders came. One of the funny things that happened was Ben Rayborn, which if you don't know who he is, you should look him up. A really rad skateboarder. He decided he wanted to try roller skates because he was like, oh, I've roller skated before. I was on King of the Road, which is a show that Thrasher put on the Vice Network. And it's basically like skateboarding teams compete against each other in different challenges. And I think he said the first season, he did the Estro Challenge, which is estrogen taught them how to do a roller skating trick in a mini ramp. So he learned how to do a ho-ho on roller skates. So he was like, oh, I've skated before. It's great. He put my skates on. They barely fit him. They were a tiny bit too small. And then it was just chaos, and it was really funny.
It was like watching a baby deer on skates. Oh my! He looked just like a baby deer.
Yeah. After I had coached him a little bit on like how to pump, like he actually started being able to pump back and forth. He of course was like, man, skating is hard. So all of you skateboarders out there, roller skating is not easy. Next time you think like, whatever, like roller skating's easy, try it. Some people are naturally good at it, and then others are not. So cut us a little slack, please.
And I'm on the lookout for a size 8 skate for him, so he can try and skate a little bit more. Because he was like, well, I need a pair of skates.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, well, totally. I will find a pair of size 8 skates. Mm-hmm. The chair.
Oh yes, the return of the chair. Return of the chair. Oh yeah, return of the chair.
So, if you've been watching, you've heard about the chair saga. In episode 5, we told you the chair just disappeared. Well, it just reappeared. We have absolutely no idea where it went, who took it, what happened. It's just back.
Cody was the one who found it. because
Oh, I thought it was just back.
No, he found it on like a Saturday. He said they went to the ramp and he found it and put it back. Now there are 2 turquoise Adirondack chairs. One of them is Lynette's because it's got the stickers on it. The other one is the look-alike chair, which is funny because when both chairs were back, I know you had put up a video on Instagram of, just whatever edit you had done that week or whatever. And someone had commented on her video, someone's sitting in your chair, because at that time I was sitting in the duplicate chair and I was in the background of the video. So someone was like, someone's sitting in Lynette's chair. And I was like, oh, no, I know not to sit in Lynette's chair. I was in the duplicate chair.
I think that was iQuadskate, one of our loyal listeners.
Yes. Hi. We also had progress. We've had progress since our last show.
Yes.
Airs progress.
I've been working on all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. Well, I say all kinds of things. I feel like I'm working on the same 2 tricks over and over again.
Me too.
But yes, our airs are higher. Kate's airs are almost completely over the coping.
Mm-hmm.
Even on her warm-up runs, I'm like, and they look so freaking pretty.
Oh, thanks. I'm trying not
to
think about it.
All of your tricks, when I watch you, I'm like, man, she just looks so graceful.
Oh, thanks. I don't feel graceful. I feel very chaotic. I've been focusing on my bottom foot to try to get my bottom foot up higher.
That's all you need. Because
it's my lead foot.
The other one's well over the coping.
Yeah, well, it's my lead foot, so my body automatically is like, you're going to go back in the ramp. So that foot will try to turn to prepare to get back into the ramp. And so because of that, a lot of times it's a lot lower because my body's already thinking about it. So I'm trying to keep them even with each other.
When I was working, I'm still working on getting higher, but I've learned to use the hang time that you have in the air to like flip my feet up. If you watch my air videos, you'll see my feet kind of flip up and then flip back down. It's very subtle, but it's there. You might have to try that. It's hard mentally to make yourself do that because you're like, I'm gonna die, but you won't. Yeah. Because you have hang time.
And I feel like my hang time is getting a little bit longer.
Because you're going higher.
Yes. So I'm not freaking out and like, oh gosh, I have to hurry up and, So things are starting to slow down for me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Which is great. It's a really cool feeling.
When you skate vert, time does slow down. A lot of people don't realize it, but when you're in the air, you feel like you have time to just do whatever maneuver. And the higher up in the air, the more time, the longer you have. It's like being in slow-mo.
That's one reason why I love skating vert.
Yeah, me too.
Because I feel like I'm floating.
I just want to fly.
Yeah. Yep. Progress on the airs.
I've been working on rodeos.
Rodeos, yes.
So if I do them lower, I'm consistently actually landing them. But now I'm trying to bring them up into the vert to eventually get on the coping. And so I'm not quite landing them. I've got to adjust something with my feet as I come back in.
But you're starting to place your hands in the vert area. Yeah. Which turns your body more up and down rather than when you're in the transition, you're still kind of at an angle.
Well,
so now you're starting to get like straight up and down.
It's that because I'm aiming higher and I'm used to doing them lower, because I'm aiming higher, I'm throwing my feet harder.
Okay.
And so the momentum of throwing my feet is bringing them out farther.
Oh, out
so
from
it's
the ramp.
hard, and it's when they're out from the wall like that, it's harder to bring them in. So that's what I'm working on. I'm trying to get that perfected in the vert section so that I can land those consistently and then get them up to the coping.
Then bring them up higher. Yeah, and I started working on monkey flips, partly because I still over-rotate on my invert when I try to throw my invert. I had worked on them that one time when you and I went to Southside. We were drilling them. So I kind of learned the mechanics of how to do it. And I was like, you know what? Every time I go to do my invert, I'm basically almost doing a monkey flip anyway. I might as well try them on the vert ramp. I'm very close to landing them. Actually, I got a really good tip on the edit that I put on Instagram. A skater said, hey, instead of, throwing them because I throw them to the right, he said, hey, go up turning left, just like you're planting and coming, and then come down fakie to try to get the landing part.
So do like an alley-oop, kind of?
Kind of, but he said, like, don't actually flip. He said, just go up like you're carving to the left and then plant your hands, and then try to plant your feet and come down fakie. So basically mock just the landing part of it. So I'm going to try that next time.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, so you get the feeling of the landing.
Of the landing.
That's kind of what I was doing with my fakie hand plant threes.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to try next at the ramp, is trying to go up, left, plant my hands, and then land my feet. And then if I can do that consistently, I can hopefully land the monkey flip. Because there was that one Tuesday when it was the girls' sesh. It was just me, you, Cass, and Aaliyah. And remember, like, they were working on inverts, well, on the fakie invert. And I was like, oh, I can do that too. That way I can work on snapping my feet under me.
I can't get that down. The fakie inverts, my mind can't comprehend.
Yeah. You have to be really quick. And that's the part I have trouble with, is the snap. I'm not fast enough. It was that whole thing where, we talked about how in a big trick, there's smaller elements of smaller tricks. This is a great example of that, where if you've got most of the trick, but you're having trouble with one part, practice just that one part. So break it down, work on the part that you're having trouble with, and then try to put it back into the big trick.
That's what I need to work on. The part of the fakie hand plant 360. I go in with my normal fakie hand plant 180. Coming out would be like a backside hand plant for me, which is why I have so much trouble. I need to start working on the backside hand plants again. I think that's why I don't want to land them.
I'm making progress on my fakie hand plant 180s. Next time we're at the ramp, we can do that too. I now don't hip check the ramp. I can actually throw it, and I hit my hands, and my toe stops will land, so I can slide down on my toe stops. So now I just have to work on, as soon as I go to throw my body, I need to tuck my feet up, or tuck my knees up. When I hit the ramp with my skates, I need to lean back a little more so I can catch my wheels and ride it down. Much better than the first time I tried, when I was just literally splatting into the wall. That was funny.
Sometimes it takes those splats to get some feelings and figure out what you're doing.
Remember, progress is not linear.
I splatted into the ramp the other night.
Oh, yes, with your rodeo. That was so funny. Literally, it looked like there was a banana peel on the ramp. I'm just saying. It was great.
It was so funny. It was so funny. At the bottom of the ramp, I was laughing so much I was crying. I was wiping my eyes as I was walking up the stairs back to the top, like, oh my god.
Yeah, literally you needed a cartoon sound like the whoop.
Well, I did. I put the Super Mario thing on there.
Yes, you did, yeah.
Like you told me to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know how long it took me to find that song?
Oh, I have it saved. I could have just given it to you.
I went to your page looking for it because I thought you had said that you used it. I couldn't find it.
I had a different one. It's actually pinned in my reels. Because that was the day I was learning how to do backside carves. So you were like, she's going to do a good air, she's going to do an alley-oop, and she's going to do a backside. And I did the first two, and then I died on the backside. So I used the Mario dying sound. It was great. So this episode, Why Can't We Be Friends? We're going to give you guys some tips for making friends at the skate park. It's not only for making friends with new skaters that you see at the park. This can also work for if you have moved somewhere new and you don't know anyone at the local skate park, or if your skate park has more than just skateboarders, making friends with skateboarders, but also rollerbladers and everybody else. I have this tagged in a highlight on my Instagram page. I mean, the first most obvious one is skate up and say hi. It seems a little silly to have to say that out loud, but sometimes skaters just need that introduction, right? They might be shy to come up to you, so if you notice somebody, go up to them and say hi. And that goes a long way, especially if you can tell they're a newer skater. They're probably very intimidated at the park. They're probably nervous about looking stupid. So going up and saying hi immediately, you're making that space more comfortable for them, and that goes a long way.
Yeah, I'm one of those who I am very shy. I know it doesn't seem that way from what everybody sees of me, but I'm very shy. I'm very introverted. So saying hi to other people is a little bit difficult for me. So I've been, especially at the skate park, when I see a new skater, I try to at least be like, hey, skater, and wave. And then like maybe a little bit later in the session, like I'll skate around and find them to introduce myself. But it takes a lot for me to muster that up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do see me at the skate park and I haven't come to talk to you yet, it's probably because of that. It's hard for me.
I try to at least wave at other skaters, like, hey, I see you. You know, I'm a little braver about being outgoing.
Yes, you make friends everywhere you go.
That's
why we work really well, because you say hi to all the people and then I'm just kind of there.
Yep. Yeah.
And it helps introduce everybody.
Yeah, I break the ice for you and then you're able to talk to people. And I used to be very scared to talk to people, but I think part of it was being in roller derby. We would have to promote our games and pass out cards and stuff like that. So I just got used to starting to talk to people. And in fact, there was a junior derby skater at the Grow event, and she had flyers, and she was too scared to talk to anybody. And I just told her, like, hey, go up to somebody and say, hey, have you seen roller derby? Here, to try to help her learn how to talk to people. Skating up and saying hi is a big deal. Another good thing you can do is ask the skater what they've learned so far, and if they want you to teach them something, or if they're having trouble with a trick, what you can do to help them out. The same way too, if you are the new person at the skate park and you see other skaters, if they're veteran skaters and maybe you can tell that they have some skills that you're trying to work on, you could skate up to them and be like, hey, I'm new in town, I'm trying to work on this trick, but this is the part I'm having trouble with. When you learned it, do you have any good tips that maybe I could use to learn the trick? So it kind of works both ways, back and forth.
Also, another good thing to think about when you want to make friends, like even with skateboarders or rollerbladers or whoever else happens to be out there, when you get into a rotation with everybody's taking their turns going through the bowl or the ramp or whatever it may be, the obstacle that everybody's working on. While you're waiting on your turn, you can just talk to whoever's also waiting. You know, just say hi and maybe tell them, because you'll probably be watching what they're doing because you're waiting in line and taking your turn. So comment on what they're working on, or tell them that they're doing really well or that they're going to land it. You know, give them some hype. That's always worked for me. That's probably the way I make my skate park friends, is more being in the rotation. Yeah. Because you're standing there with them for, 10, 20 minutes, maybe longer.
That's also another tip I have is be a cheerleader. You don't have to literally be like, yeah, slay, awesome. But if you're noticing they're drilling something and they're making progress, like, hey, you got more height on that one, great job. Just point out little things here or there. A good rule of thumb with just conversation in general is a lot of times if you compliment someone, people are more receptive to talk to you. That shows that you're being friendly, and then they'll see that you're not a complete weirdo. And it's just another good way to kind of break the ice with someone. You can also ask them, like, hey, how long have you been working on this? Oh yeah, this is one trick that I had trouble with.
It also helps to, because I know when I get into like a group of people and everybody starts hyping everybody else up, it helps people land the tricks quicker, because it changes the vibe, it changes the atmosphere. When you've got people rooting for you or you're rooting for somebody else, it makes it more like, okay, well, I can land this. People do have a tendency to use that energy and land the tricks that they're working on.
Yeah, spread the stoke.
Absolutely.
That's a hashtag I love using. Spread the stoke. Another great thing you can do too is offer to film them, especially if they're really working on a trick. Be like, hey, you want me to grab some video of you with your phone so that they can either watch what they're doing to see how they can fix it. That's half the reason I take video of my stuff, is so I can analyze what I'm doing and how I can fix XYZ to make the trick work. Plus also, everybody wants to be able to make edits of themselves. And I actually said the other day, I was like, if we don't romanticize our lives, who will? Another really good thing you can do, especially with any new skaters at the park, is teach them some skate park etiquette. Because chances are, if there's someone that you can tell is pretty new to park skating, they're not really going to know the etiquette, they're not going to know the rules. This also goes not just for roller skaters, but younger skateboarders, that might not know, or rollerbladers, or even scooter kids. If you have to skate with scooter kids, you can try with scooter kids. They may not be receptive to you because scooter kids, in my experience, scooter kids just don't give a fuck. They don't listen. They don't care. But you can at least give them some tips, because every skate park is different. Like, hey, at this skate park, this is what you should expect, that type of thing. So that's kind of a good way to talk to somebody, and also to make them feel more comfortable, because you're like, hey, I'm a veteran at this park. I know how things work. Let me show you so you're more comfortable. There's just a couple of tips for kind of starting the conversation and starting to make friends. You don't have to be best friends with the person, because I know some people like to go to the skate park and kind of keep to themselves and do their own thing, and that's totally cool.
One thing to be able to spot those kind of people, and it's not like that's that kind of person. Maybe they're just out there working on something and need to concentrate and just want to be in their zone for that session, just to concentrate on whatever it is they're working on. If somebody has earbuds in, that's a good indicator that they probably don't want to be bothered. But probably at the end of the session, like when they're done and they take them out, or if they're going to do some cool down or whatever, then you can go up and say hi and tell them what you thought about what they were working on, or ask them some questions or whatever to introduce yourself and kind of get to know that person. That's a good rule of thumb for people with earbuds in.
There are people that just, they kind of like to be in their own space. Like, that's their way that they unwind, or their stress relief, and they don't want to chat the whole time. You can kind of read people. If someone's very friendly and chatty and they want to talk, that's cool. If you can tell that they're just a little more reserved, at least be friendly to them, and then kind of back off and let them make the next move. Because there could be somebody who's just not a talkative person, like doesn't really want to chat with you, but you can at least be friendly to them and then just be like, okay, good to talk to you, or whatever, and then do your own thing. Skate park etiquette's a big thing. For the most part, I feel like in the roller skating community, we are good about kind of teaching others skate park etiquette. If everyone kind of does their part to help teach skate park etiquette, it's just going to make the skate park a more enjoyable place for everyone. Then you're not going to have chaos every time you go. Now, you're going to have that anyway, especially if there's a lot of little kids at the park, because little kids, it's a little harder to approach the little kids. You always have to make sure that you're not like worrying the parents, like, hey, why are you approaching my kid? Like, why are you talking to my kid? In today's day and age, you have to be a little bit careful. Send a little friendly shout out. You don't have to necessarily get up close and personal with the kid. If you are new to skating in the skate park, definitely make sure you know how to skate first. You want to be confident in skating, stopping, and falling down. Number one, it'll make you a safer skater when you take it to the skate park. But number two, like, you don't want to be in everybody's way. You don't want your body to create an obstacle for another skater to possibly get hurt. So you need to make sure that you can confidently skate on flat ground before you bring it to transition.
And that means being able to skate forward and skate backward confidently. And then, as Kate said, stopping and falling. Those 4 things you need to be able to do.
We used to hold skate park classes, and we taught basic roller skating. So quite literally skating, stopping, falling down. We also had Skate Park 101 and Skate Park 102 classes for people to get introduced into parks. People who had enough information to be dangerous at the park, dangerous as in competent, and they wanted to bring their skills further. You definitely need to have a good base of skating before you go to the skate park. The other thing you need to remember is to skate within your limits. If you're a newer skater, be patient. A lot of times people will go to the skate park and they're like, I want to be the biggest badass here. Like, okay, you're already a badass because you're skating in a skate park. There are so many people who are not even brave enough to do that. You don't have to go out and prove yourself by totally throwing yourself balls to the wall at something, especially if you're not ready. That's how you get injured. You're going to be frustrated if you're trying to do all these huge tricks and you don't have the basics down yet. Realize that it's going to take time to progress, and that's okay. And it's also okay to suck at something new. Everybody sucks at new things until they're doing it for a while, and then they get better. That's just the nature of anything. Safety is sexy. If you've listened to our previous episodes, we're pretty pro gear. I'm extremely pro gear, especially helmets. And when you're first starting out, I know right now it's kind of the cool thing is not to wear gear. But if you're brand new to skating at the skate park, it's really smart for you to wear gear. Number one, it's going to protect you from injury. Number two, it'll help you feel more confident. You're going to fall down when you're learning. It's just going to happen. It's part of the process. Safety gear will help you not hurt as much when you fall. And also, you might feel a little braver to try something than if you weren't wearing gear.
I know with me, anytime I'm skating anywhere, if there's a surprise, oh, let's do this. If I don't have my knee pads and my helmet on, I am much less prone to actually doing anything because I don't feel comfortable doing harder things without stuff on. So if I'm just cruising down the street, I'm just cruising. I'm not going to stall on anything. I'm not going to slide on anything. I'm not going to jump over anything because my helmet and my knee pads make me feel more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And without those, I'm not doing it. I've had too many scraped knees.
Another thing about skate park etiquette is to respect the space. Certain skate parks will require you to wear a helmet. You have to accept that that's just how it's going to be. Each skate park is its own environment. You're not going to get the same vibe at every skate park. So kind of when you get to a skate park, kind of observe, see what's going on, realize that you are new coming into a new environment. So you need to respect the space that you're in. In that kind of same breath, get the lay of the land. A lot of things that may not look like skate obstacles are skate obstacles. So don't put your bag down on, say, a ledge because that might be a ledge someone wants to skate on. Don't be in the way of the skating things.
And also pay attention so that you don't sit on something that somebody wants to skate.
Yeah, like on mini ramps. Don't sit on the coping because someone might want to slide across the coping and then you're in the way. Definitely get the lay of the land and respect the space. Don't be a snake. Snaking is when you cut somebody off. Mostly, especially like a skateboarder or a roller skater is doing some sort of path. You don't want to cut across their path because then it interrupts their flow. They could possibly try to avoid you and fall and get injured. So don't be a snake. Make sure you're really watching the flow of traffic so that you're not in the way.
And pay attention to people's lines. If you want to skate something and there's two or three other people, maybe not two or three, one or two other people skating the same obstacle, kind of jump in line, pay attention to what they're doing, look at any cross traffic because a lot of times, especially if you're in a street section, there will be traffic going one way and then another way, and everybody's watching everybody else. There may be times when you go because you didn't think anybody else was going, and then somebody else goes at the same time, and maybe y'all cross paths. That's okay. It's usually incidental. Most of the time, everybody says, oh, my bad, and goes about what they're doing. But definitely pay attention so you know what's going on.
There's something called monster runs. Basically, a good rule of thumb is if you are skating in a bowl or whatever, keep your run a minute or less. Because, yes, you're there to skate, and especially if you're new, like, don't be afraid to own your space, but own your space, do your thing, and then get out and let somebody else have a turn. It's very much like learning to share. Don't get in the bowl and just take forever and ever and ever. Now, it's okay to talk to other people around, like, hey, do you mind if I get in and try pumping for a few minutes? You know, that's okay to ask. When I teach newer skaters how to skate at the skate park, if we're there and it's busy, you know, I'll say to other people in the area, hey, is it okay if I just let them climb in this bowl really quick so I can show them the mechanics of pumping? We'll just be a few minutes and then we'll be out. And usually they're pretty receptive to that because I've asked them, like, hey, is it okay if we do this? It's just basically being considerate. Another thing is seeing double, right? So you don't ever want to be in a bowl or on a ramp if someone else is there. Unless you're specifically doing a double run with somebody and you've asked permission, like, hey, can we skate on this at the same time? You're most likely going to feel, or you're basically going to be in that other person's way if you get on the obstacle at the same time as them. That's not very respectful to do. We were talking to Cass yesterday, and she told us about an incident that happened at EZ7 which is it's basically 2 mini ramps with a spine in the middle. She and Aaliyah was working on going over the spine. Aaliyah's 10. She was working on going over the spine, and this rollerblader kept jumping in and being on the ramp at the same time as them, and it was freaking out Aaliyah because she felt like, oh gosh, this person's in my space, and what if I fall on them? What if they fall on me? Cass asked him, like, hey, can you not be on the ramp while we're on the ramp? And he, of course, acted like a little kid about it, and he was like, I'm not in your way, I'm over here. And she's like, no, you're in our way because you're on the ramp at the same time as us. And she had to ask him a couple times.
And that goes to paying attention to your local skate park's rules. Because we know at the ramp, that the ramp with the spine, everybody uses the entire thing. Mm-hmm. It's very rare you see anybody not going over the spine. When you get to a skate park, you need to observe and see how everybody uses the obstacles, mm-hmm. because the locals know how the local etiquette is. And mm-hmm. so that's one of those things. If he would have been paying attention, he would know that when you're on that ramp, you're using the whole thing.
I think he was crossing over from one side to the other. Oh. She had to tell him a couple of times, like, hey, this is not cool. Like, quit doing this. He finally left. If you have an obstacle where it's, 2 mini ramps with a spine in the middle, let's say you're there with somebody else and you're noticing they're only using one side, you could always say, hey, is it okay if I use just this side and you use just that side? If you talk about it ahead of time and you come to an agreement, that's cool. At HVR, the vert ramp is 60 feet wide. So it's 30 feet and then there's the channel and then the other 30 feet. So sometimes it'll be like, hey, you want to be on this side working on something and I'll be on this side working on something and we won't cross. And that's totally okay too. It's mostly just talking to the people that you're skating with. Don't just assume something's okay and jump in. Like, make sure it is okay with them. Accidents do happen. Sometimes you might accidentally run into somebody or they might run into you. It's a good rule of thumb to kind of treat it as okay, whoops, that was an accident. That was a one-time thing. Because there's a difference between a mishap and someone who's purposely snaking you, purposely being a dick. You can tell the difference. And if you run into someone who's purposely snaking you, you can ask them, please quit doing that. Sometimes, though, there is still, in some areas of, I guess, the world, because it's not just in the U.S., in some areas of the world, there still is there's a subset of toxic skateboarders who purposely don't like the fact that roller skaters are coming into their space. They don't like that females are coming into their space. They'll purposely do that stuff to try to run you off. Own your space, let them know it's not cool, and hopefully they'll stop. Another thing is to skate with a buddy. So safety in numbers is a big thing. Not only is it good to have a buddy because, let's say there's a skating group that's kind of being a dick to you, you have someone to help stand up for you. It's just good, safe skating. Let's say you fall and get hurt, you have someone there that can help you out. Or if you decide to get into a bowl that you're not ready for and you can't get out, that person can help you. That's happened at North Houston a couple of times. There was a girl who got into a very deep bowl and she was only like 13 or 14. And she didn't tell anybody she was going back there. She got stuck back there and we finally realized, like, hey, we haven't seen so-and-so in a while. What's going on? And she came back to us and she was crying and, I thought she had been assaulted. So I was like, what happened? Did somebody touch you? Did somebody do something? And she was like, no, I got stuck in the bowl. And we're like, oh, we thought you went home. Like, you didn't communicate to us that you were going back there. And she had even taken her skates off to try to run, but she was so sweaty. Her socks were so slippery, she couldn't gain any traction. She finally yelled and yelled and yelled, and a skateboarder going by heard her and put his board down there and fished her out. Safety in numbers is definitely a good thing to have. Skate parks are for everyone. It's not just going to be roller skaters there. There's going to be skateboarders, BMX bikers, scooters at some of the places. So just realize you're going to be skating with everyone, and you got to be okay with that. I got to be okay with skating with scooter kids.
There are some scooter kids who are really, really good mm-hmm. at scootering. That's what they call it. Mm-hmm. I found out what they call it. I don't know how, but I heard it somewhere. Scootering. Usually the ones who are really, really good know all of the things. The problem is when you get the scooter kids who, because scooters are cheap, their parents just buy them a scooter and then bring them to the skate park. They don't know what they're doing. They're just scootering around, going through everything and not paying any attention. Mm-hmm. Those are the problem scooterers.
Wax. So the old wax on, wax off debate. A lot of skate parks will not let you use wax because it can make a skate element dangerous for other skaters, especially newer skaters. There are some people that are like, no, I really want my skate wax because I want to slide or grind on things. That's totally cool. Put the skate wax on your skates rather than on the obstacle itself. Skate wax will degrade skate park elements over time. So that's just more upkeep for the skate park to have to do. So that's another reason why they don't allow wax at skate parks. It ends up crudding up all of the things. If you put it on your skates, it's going to make your skates slippery, but you're also not hindering an obstacle for somebody else.
Yeah, there used to be a rollerblader here in Houston who would wax everything.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And he would put copious amounts of wax on everything at North Houston where they don't allow wax.
Mm-hmm. And he always said, oh, they let me. And I'm like, no, they're not.
We had many, many, many conversations, and not just me. Some of the boarders, like the regular boarders, all had conversations with him, and he just would not stop.
Yep.
It was
not cool.
I mean, you would get somewhere and you would know that he had waxed it because it was so slick. There were a couple of times when I almost slid out just dropping in.
Oh yeah,
because there was so much wax on the coping. Now, if you wax pool coping, that's fine because it doesn't make it as slick. It just makes it where you can slide a little bit better.
Yeah, but if you're waxing coping, metal coping, yes,
it makes it as much as he was putting on there. It felt like you were sliding on PVC.
Right. It was scary. Yeah.
It was very scary.
I never appreciated when he did that either. Don't go into a skate park and see a veteran skater and be like, hey, do a backflip. That's basically the equivalent of someone telling a skateboarder, hey, do a kickflip. They're not going to be receptive to that. In the same way, if a guy says to a girl, hey, you should smile more, like, are you going to appreciate that? No. So don't assume that all veteran skaters can do flips, even though a lot of roller skating in parks is getting to be very gymnastics angle. Not everybody can do backflips. So don't be a dick and ask someone to do a backflip because they're not going to be receptive to you if you do that.
No. I've had several people ask me to do a backflip, and I'm like, I can't do that. Not yet.
Right?
But
like, I used to be able to backflip, not on skates, but...
Oh, I can't backflip at all. I'm going to have to, learn it.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But that's the same way as all my flips. I've never done any kind of gymnastics. So all the flips I do have been learned on ramps with skates on my feet.
Enjoy the ride. Part of skating is you're working on things. Don't get so bogged down that you're not progressing, or don't get so irately angry at somebody. Now, yes, if you've asked somebody, hey, I'm trying to use this space, wait your turn, or whatever, and they're not listening, I can understand that would make for a bad skate park experience. Overall, try not to be super negative while you're there. It's just going to make your time not enjoyable. If you are very aggressive to people, they'll remember that, and then the next time you go back to that skate park, if those same people are there, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's the person that was really awful. And they might continue to make your skate park experience bad because they don't want you to come back. Just be chill, have fun. I do have all of these tips linked in my link tree. If you ever need a refresher on this, you can look there, or if you want to share that, it's actually from the CIB page. You can go in there and share that website page with somebody who's new to skating and they want to learn skate park etiquette.
We're going to talk about events now. We have quite a few of them, actually. May 12th through the 14th, Ramp and Roll. That's a camp in Colorado. May 19th through the 21st. This is a new event that I found. CIB Central Arkansas is doing a big skate weekend. Friday night is going to be rink night. Saturday morning is a beginner-friendly park session with a lunch afterwards. And then Sunday morning is an advanced intermediate park session. I'm not sure if they're doing a lunch afterwards. It didn't say. I believe the beginner-friendly park session is at Canis Park. The intermediate advanced park session, they have not decided on the park yet. So keep your eye on CIB Central Arkansas's Instagram page to learn more about that. May 20th, the May Meltdown at Alliance Skate Park, put on by Brain Free Skate Wax. I think they might be doing a little park competition. I'm not completely sure. Check out Brain Free Skate Wax's Instagram page for more information on that. May 20th, also, this is a skateboard event. However, I like to put these in because if roller skaters show up and ask if they can skate, they might actually let you, and then maybe in future events they'll incorporate it. So this is Shredfest 3 at the Pink Motel. If you don't know where that's at, I believe it is in California. It's on my bucket list of things to skate. It is a pool, and this is a competition or demo. It might be both. Also on May 20th in North Carolina, so the opposite coast, is the 3rd annual Hampstead 500. It is a competition, again, skateboards, but if roller skaters show up and ask if they can skate, yada, yada, yada. May 28th is Oh My Quad in Belgium, the competition going on there. June 2nd through the 4th is Jackalope Fest. We've talked about this in previous episodes. June 3rd, Skate Safari out in California. That's the date that they moved it to. June 24th, so SummerSlam was rescheduled. So now it's going to be June 24th. I believe they're going to do June 23rd with the demo, and then June 24th is the competition, which is at Alliance Skate Park. Keep an eye out on their page for more. Yes, that is in Dallas.
Yeah, and also a big shout out to Brittany. She did have to postpone it because she's going through some medical issues right now. So hopefully everything's okay with her. We're going to keep our fingers crossed.
Then in August, it's pretty much the full month of August, there is Blading Camp in Spain. Each week is something different. I know I said in previous episodes that I'm going to Quad Week. I'm actually going to Ladies Week, which is August 14th through the 19th. Mm-hmm. But there are several other weeks of this. So go check out Blading Camp's Instagram for more information on that. October 6th through the 8th is the Nance Roller Festival competition in France. And then November 9th through the 12th. What's November 9th through the 12th?
Banger in the Hanger.
Banger in the Hanger. We're still excited about that.
Absolutely.
Everybody come out and skate.
Yes.
We're going to have a great time.
It should be good.
We're going to party.
Yeah.
Probably not too much because we'll be working most of that
I
weekend.
was going to say we're going to be skating, so party afterwards and then hydrate a lot.
Well, we'll be skating, but we'll also be working.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we enjoy helping Scott put on this massive event.
Yes.
I had some people ask me about that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't know, but they were asking me about how do you get tickets and all this stuff. And so I told them it's limited number of tickets.
It is.
And you've got to get them when they come out. He usually releases them, I believe, the beginning of October, end of September, beginning of October. Mm-hmm. Limited tickets. It's a free event, but you do have to
get on the list.
Exactly.
Because you also
register
sign a waiver
for your
to be on his property because it's a private property. So it's not like having it at a skate park where anyone can show up. He needs to know exactly who's there in case of incidents. But yeah, we help get the property ready ahead of time. During the event, a lot of times I clean up after the Groms because they spill their water everywhere, and we help empty trash cans and all sorts of stuff. So, yep.
But it's a good time.
It's a great time.
When we finally get to rest a little. We keep the rain off the ramp.
Yes, we keep the rain off the ramp.
If it's raining.
We help get ice packs for people who get injured. All sorts of fun stuff. So, it's a good time.
But y'all can come and hang out with us and skate and enjoy all of the really awesome skating that happens at this event. It's out of this world. It's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I think that's probably my favorite part is that you meet skaters from all over the place. And that's one thing that was really neat for me because, I've been, since it started in 2020, I've attended it. But like last year attending as an athlete, I got to meet the skateboarders and start making friends with them. So that's really neat because if you happen to go other places, it's like, oh, hey, what's going on? You can like meet up with them again and skate with them. So,
Yes, it's a good way to make friends,
mm-hmm.
which is what we've been talking about.
Hey, it's like we planned it.
Did we though?
I don't know.
I don't either. Probably not. Okay. Do you want to talk about the drive?
Yes.
I feel like I ask that question every episode.
Do I want to talk about the drive? Sure, of course I want to talk about the drive. So I'm part of the Drive Clothing, which is an apparel company. They are starting to release a whole bunch of different products, though. They started out making just graphic tees, which they have some cool tie-dye. They have a Road Rash collection, which is ripped up. They have the Devil Dolls collection, which is, kind of more like badass women type thing. But they have shirts, they have workout apparel for both men and women. So they've got like leggings and bra sets for women. They have boxing shorts, like pro boxer type style shorts. They have other workout shorts for men. They have sunglasses and hats and beach towels and decals. And then now they're going to be coming out with swimsuits for summer. They're coming out with men and women's underwear. Just all sorts of stuff. So it's really cool to be a part of. If you want to shop the Drive, you can go through my link, which is thedriveclothing.com/altercation1053. If you want to, also in my link tree, there's a button that goes directly to the site through my link. So you can shop there. And they do a lot of weekend releases. So every weekend they'll release limited edition prints or designs. And you can only get them that weekend. If something happens to sell really well, they'll put it into normal production. But that's kind of cool. It's sort of like, you get like a limited edition thing. And then most of the time in the middle of the week, they'll do some sort of promo like buy one, get one hoodies, which is where Lynette got her hoodie that she's wearing. And they'll do maybe like 70% off a certain t-shirt or anything like that. So I usually share all that stuff in my stories. So if you watch my stories, you'll see when things are dropping. But so thedriveclothing.com/altercation1053.
And I'm going to talk about Two Tias. Two Tias is a skate apparel, but they also have other stuff. So you can get t-shirts, pants, duffel bags, mugs, stickers. They used to have patches. I don't think they have patches anymore. Also, they do custom jean vests. So if you go look at their website, each one is different because they're custom. So they buy the vests, they sew, each one has a theme.
Mm-hmm.
They sew all the patches on. They have pins that they put on them. They're really cool. You should go check that out. The duffel bags, I think that's really it.
Swimsuits, don't they have swimsuits also?
They have one swimsuit.
Okay.
The chili bikini, which I love the chili bikini. That's the one I have. Well, one of the ones I have.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, check it out. twotskate.com.
Mm-hmm. And they have a skate team, so Lynette's on the skate team. It's pretty cool. They have skateboarders and rink skaters and a bunch of things.
Give all the skate team a follow.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if they have it listed. Oh yeah, they have all the announcements on their page. So go check out all the skate team.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Old Bones Therapy.
Yes.
Which I forgot my mug today.
That's okay. I have mine.
Old Bones Therapy provides my insoles and my knee sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
I need to change out my insoles. I just got some new ones.
Okay.
Because I've worn out the other ones. So much skating, it's worn them out. They are shock absorbing insoles, which is awesome, especially if you're on rough roads or
if you're a street skater and you like to jump off of things. You should check them out.
They're really nice.
Yeah, I really like their knee sleeves because they make my 40-year-old knees feel like they're 20 again, which is great. But they also have pain cream for, bruises and sore muscles. They have ice sleeves, so you can stick it in the freezer and then literally just pull it onto your leg or your arm.
The ice sleeves are amazing.
Yeah, so they have great recovery gear. They've got some cool apparel also. They have t-shirts, and they have some Hawaiian shirts that we wore in one of our episodes. Great stuff. And the cool thing is, Brandon actually was able to quit his job, his regular job, and now he does Old Bones full time, which is pretty rad. So congratulations, Brandon. We're excited for you about that.
Also, go buy some compression socks.
Oh yeah, the socks are great too. Yes.
The socks are, I do like the socks. I do have a pair of the compression socks, and it is very hard to get compression socks on and off, but they're really, really nice.
Yeah, they're definitely not your grandma's compression socks. I mean, these are pretty rad. So
yeah, they look like socks a skater would wear.
Yeah, and then especially like for skateboarders, he has ankle sleeves, and it has padding for where the ankle bones are. So if you're bailing a lot and your ankles are just getting totally beat up, definitely look into those. It'll keep you skating longer and stronger. So, but yeah.
So go check them out. oldbonestherapy.com.
Yes.
And I think that's it for this episode.
Yep, that's all we have. So we'll see you next time. So, bye.
Bye.